Hi, this is Stephanie Hansen, and you are listening to The Makers of Minnesota, where we are talking to cool people doing cool things in the state of Minnesota. We have two very cool young ladies here today. We have Laura and Bella Meschini, and they are from the Familia Meschini House of Wine. And you girls are taking the wine world by storm in producing and distributing a new canned wine. Who's going to tell me about it first? Laura? Bella? They're both looking at each other like, I don't know. Okay.
So we grew up making wine, producing wine, even like our grandparents did, from Argentina.
So tell me about that, because you look pretty like you're Minnesota people. So
yeah, I'm very pale. So we grew up in Minnesota. My dad is from Argentina.
Okay.
And my mom is
Your
from
dad's
Minnesota.
name is Eugenio. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
And your mom is Teresa.
Yes.
Okay.
They met
correct.
in college.
Yes. They met at the University of St. Thomas. My dad didn't speak a word of English. And
Really?
Yeah.
Well, St. Thomas has a really diverse student population, a lot of international students, so that makes sense.
So he grew up from like wine region in Argentina.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so where did you guys grow up? Did you literally grow up in Argentina, or did you grow up in the Twin Cities somewhere?
In Minneapolis.
Yeah, we grew up in Minneapolis, but we normally visit every other year, and most of our family's there, so we still like to call ourselves Argentines and be involved in that part of our culture.
Yeah. So would your dad go back and forth, and your mom, and how did that work?
He would go often to see his family.
Sure.
And then with our siblings and our parents, we would go every other year to see our cousins, and we're fluent in Spanish. Our dad only speaks to us in Spanish. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty great.
So it's very much so a part of our lives, and all of our friends know it when they're at our house. It's Argentine food. And
How many kids are in your family?
4.
Yeah.
4 kids. All right. And are you guys youngest, oldest? Where do you fall in the hierarchy?
I'm the oldest.
And then I'm the second, and then we have a younger brother who's almost 16 and a younger sister who's almost 13.
All right.
Yeah.
So very young family.
Yeah. Fun household.
And you spoke Spanish at home.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, when you mentioned Argentine food, I'm curious what in particular that is necessarily.
Yeah.
I only hear about I guess you hear about the beef.
Yeah, so that's a huge part. My dad is like, we have to have it at least twice a week or he'll freak out. Big steak. Yeah, so a lot of that. And then there's a lot of empanadas baked in the oven, not fried, as like most Mexicans will do it.
Yum.
Yeah, and just a lot of different like fresh produce, I'd say, when you think
Empanadas,
that.
steak, red wine.
Red wine, yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's
I
it.
love that. So you go every other year. And what's interesting to me about that is you both seem like you feel very connected to this Argentinian heritage.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Your grandmas, all of your cousins. So you really felt like that was part of it. So as your parents were producing wine there and distributing it here, did you feel like you were connected to Argentinian lifestyle?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's like very much so a norm for everyone in Mendoza, where my dad is from in Argentina, to have their own wine labels. So I felt we were very much so connected in that way. And also it's something that a lot of our friends knew about us, as their parents would drink that wine.
Yep.
So I felt like it was a way we could show off and celebrate our Argentine culture.
Yeah. And if you've been to Europe and you've been to some of these places, you really get a sense of the family connection that people have to the land, to their vineyards, to the vines that they're growing. And when you go to an island or somewhere and you sit down in the neighborhood tavern, they're giving you their wine that they've typically grown or that their neighbor has grown. So it seems weird to people that maybe haven't had that experience in Europe to understand, because our wine feels like it comes from Certix, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true. Yeah. I mean, it's been so interesting to learn more about the whole process. And we have pictures of us running on the vineyards when we were little. And we recently built a house on one of our vineyards. So it's so much fun to have time to be in the pool and run around and see it all come to life in that whole aspect.
And you do spend a lot of time in the pools in a vineyard because it's hot.
Yeah, exactly.
The pool is like the highlight.
Yeah.
And the dinners.
Yes.
The dinners are really good.
Big family dinners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the friends, all the families, all the neighborhood dogs.
It's like a 3-hour process.
Yes.
But yeah, the best part of the day.
And you see that in Italy, you see that in Croatia, you see that in a lot of wine growing regions. I feel so glad that you got to have that experience because it is so amazing.
Yeah, it's so different than a lot of values in American culture too. So it's been so interesting to have the best of both worlds between between the Argentine values and the American values as well.
Is there something that seems like an Argentine value to you that's different?
I feel like family is just such a focus. Like our cousins, even to this day, have like big family lunch and dinners on Sunday, where here in American culture, I feel like some of that gets lost with like priorities and work and sports and stuff.
And the multi-generations too,
Yeah,
don't you
exactly.
think?
Everyone's very connected. And a lot of people who live in Argentina live there their whole lives. Like we go back and we laugh because our little town is exactly the same every single time. And I feel like that's something that's not necessarily the same in the US.
And the heritage of like, it's been the same for hundred of years,
exactly.
you know, these family lines have been there. So you guys you're growing up, your mom and dad have this winery, you're in college and you decide that you want to have a brand, that you want to be invested in the family business. How did it all bubble up?
Well, I always told my parents, canned wine, can is where it's at. We have to kind of innovate the business.
When did you tell them that? Do you remember?
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
Because that's when I think we first started to
Yeah.
see the canned wines.
Yeah.
We saw, what were the first ones? Was it like Big House Red?
Yeah, like Sophia.
Yes.
Like
Sophia
all those
Coppola,
brands.
yep.
And so when it first started, I think people in our like demographic are always on Instagram and you see it pop up and it just started like be a huge trend.
Yeah,
And, like,
because in the beginning, I was like, canned wine.
Yeah.
Who wants to drink wine
Exactly.
out of a can?
It's
And
so-
boxed wine was sort of like,
Yeah,
all we
such a
knew was
negative
that
stigma.
horrible Franzia.
Yeah.
It was Zinfandel.
It's been really interesting because everyone always asks us like, oh, are you going to do that? Is that your business? And I feel like we finally found our niche of the business and exactly what we wanted to do and how it reflects more of our culture and our age group.
So
it's
you
really
decided you wanted to be the ones who brought canned wine into the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you remember the first time you told your mom and dad that?
Yeah, I told my dad that, and he's a big business guy, and he was like, "That's crazy." I'm like, "No, people will drink it." That's right. So I kept telling him that. But I think once they started seeing it, you know, on the shelves at their favorite liquor stores, they started to believe me more.
Yep. And is your family known for certain types of wines?
Yes, especially being from Argentina and Mendoza, there's a lot of Malbec. It's just probably the most famous varietal from that region. Some Cabernets as well. We do Chardonnay, but mostly, especially from Argentina, some deep dark reds.
With a lot of kind of a puckery mouthfeel.
Exactly.
A lot of tannins.
Yeah, and it works so well with a lot of the foods of Argentina, as we said, the steaks and the barbecues or whatever. So definitely very similar to Argentina.
So you say to your dad, hey, I want to do this canned wine thing. And he's like, sure, kid, that's great. Let me know. So then how did you literally convince him? Did he make you do a business plan? Did he say research it? Like, what did you literally have to do to get people on board?
I think it was kind of a mix. It was, you know, I never made like a formal PowerPoint. It was just showing, hey, look at this brand, you know, hey, look at the, you know, brands, especially the Sophia brand that he knew well.
Which is quite fantastic.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Her pink bubble with the straw.
That's what I was just thinking. Yep.
When I go to a hotel and that is in my fridge, I am just a happy camper. Yeah. And then they have a white, and it's not marketed Sophia, but it's the Coppola family. It's in a green can and it's kind of a slim can and it's a white wine. I can't remember the name of it, but another really good tasting product.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like seeing big brands like that or you're really successful entities actually doing the canned wine and people who, you know, stand behind the bottle, switching to cans and just trying to mix it up a little bit showed that, you know, we could do it.
Okay.
And that, yeah.
So you're both very young people. You've been going to college and figuring that out. How do you divvy up the labor of like who's doing what and what was the first thing you had to do? You obviously have wine, so that's not a
step
problem.
one, check. Yeah. So definitely that. And then I have a graphic design minor and I've always been really interested in branding and technology and using my creativity as well. So I've definitely done a lot of that aspect. Like the website building has all been my responsibility, of course, with Bella's approval.
Yeah.
Which can be difficult.
I was going to ask,
Yeah,
do
no.
you, like in a family business, sometimes husband and wife, you know, you have one person that's good at one area and another person that's, do you have your defined roles or do you get into each other's space?
I think we do have our defined roles. Like Bella doesn't have very much patience with technology like I do, and I just happen to be really savvy with it. But I look for her approval on a lot of things too, to make sure that she likes it and it's reflective of the voice that we want to put forward. But yeah, I definitely do a lot of that, and I also do a decent amount of the social media as well.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that because I don't think you can talk about, I mean, you have to have a good product,
Yeah.
but a lot of the product is the lifestyle piece of it, right? So you decide you're going to have a website. You put together, who decided literally on the way that the package looks? Because you have this can, you brought some in for me. The colors are interesting. They're kind of retro a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a matte label, which is sort of unique that we're seeing a lot of the breweries.
Yeah.
definitely.
So the label was done by a local ad agency called In Food Marketing, and
Anita.
yeah,
they were
Anita.
awesome. Yep.
They do a great job.
Anita was awesome. So
we worked with them, had like a couple
Anita
of
Nelson is
Yes.
from In Food Marketing, and
Yes.
she does work with a lot of local brands.
Yeah.
So she met my mom and was super helpful. They wanted to do a alcohol beverage really badly. So they were really excited about the whole project and came up with some amazing designs, but this was our favorite by far.
Yeah.
And we love the hand-drawn aspects that represent Argentina with the mountains and the vineyard coming down. And we just thought the colors were so appealing, celebrative, and great for summer.
And the matte label, was that something you knew right away you were going to do?
Yeah. Just something that stands out on the shelf. You have to catch the eye and then show it's a good product. But
Who decided to name it Vamos Vino?
We came up with really a ton of different ideas.
Yeah.
We were trying to pull from either maybe family names, aspects, but we decided that Vamos was the best name because it was like to go in Spanish. So it made us think of like, where can we bring this wine? We wanted to like have that reflect in our brand. So we wanted it to be shown on boats and tailgates and picnics and parties. So just bringing it out to go and out into the world.
So you develop design, you decide on the label, you launch a website. Did you know social media? Like, did you launch Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube? Did you do all the channels at once?
yeah, it's still a work in progress.
Definitely
as
a
we-
work in progress
yeah.
still. I mean, obviously, social media, you need to have such an active presence. So we're still working on it every single day. But Instagram is obviously our biggest like group, age group that we're targeting. So we put a lot of work into that, which has been really fun. And also Facebook is great for longer posts and a different variety of videos. So we've been utilizing that platform as well.
When you are doing lifestyle branding for wine, you talk about Facebook video because that's primarily like a 35 to 54-year-old woman. Is that
Yeah.
approximately?
Yeah.
So what kind of videos would you do to appeal to a woman like that with a canned wine?
Picnics, breweries, where we're just trying to appeal to the people to bring on the boat. If you we're trying to get it out there because I think like that demographic too. You go to a brewery here and you don't care for beer, and it'd be great to have some wine.
Yeah,
And
we've never been beer people, so we kind of want to take away the stigma of bringing a wine bottle everywhere. And wine can be more obtainable and easy, just like beer is. And so we kind of wanted to like celebrate the wine drinkers in every aspect.
Does it sell only singularly, or is it in a 4-pack, 6-pack? How does it sell?
singularly for right now.
Okay, so people can load up one by one by one.
Yep.
How do you feel about, we're seeing a lot of, you talk about the breweries, and they're really starting to do a lot of malt-based cocktails. They're trying to create beer rosés, as it were. Do you feel like that helps your story or hurts it?
I think it can help it. I think that it can be an introduction for beer drinkers to appreciate wine and maybe get a little bit more like
Variety.
I don't know, yeah, because I've tried the rosé beers and like stuff like that are popular, especially in the Twin Cities too. And it's
tried.
okay, yeah,
Yeah, we tried.
Yeah, but I think it's maybe a good introduction too. It can work both ways.
Do you like them, or is there any you do like?
That's a good question. Well, I'm gluten-free now. So wine is normally what I stick with when I'm drinking, but
Yep.
I have had the rosé at Surly when I wasn't gluten-free, and I didn't mind that. I know you didn't love it, but
No,
it
yeah.
was
It
light.
I didn't love
No,
it either.
I don't like it.
Part of what is confusing to me, and I think it's maybe just me, but I don't know. When you have like a pink something, you have like a sense of what
Yeah.
that's going to taste like in your mind. And the Surly Rosé just tasted like watered down nothingness to me. Yeah, it wasn't sweet. It wasn't sharp. It just like wasn't anything.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I feel like for them, I mean, obviously they have like people that don't love beer but want to go experience the great place that Surly is for a bite to eat or just hang out in the patio or
Yeah.
whatever. So I feel like this could be a great option for them to introduce something that's not just beer to those that want to hang out with their friends that love beer.
What about, have you guys had the like Fair State Roselle?
No, I haven't.
No,
Have you?
I've heard
'Cause
about it though.
It's very good.
Yeah.
And it's very assertive, I guess, in its flavor. So maybe that's why it feels like more like wine to me. Some of the ciders.
I'll
have-
drink cider.
She loves
yeah.
cider.
Yeah, there are a lot of good ciders. That Minneapolis Cidery is a new place, and
Oh,
they have a raspberry cider that's
Oh, really?
fantastic. Yeah.
Sociable
Yeah.
Cider Works is right by her apartment, so we've been a few times.
Do you like
Yeah.
their pink? And I don't know what the name of it is. It's fairly new. Pink cider.
I always just end up getting the freewheeler every time I go
Yeah,
there.
I didn't like it either.
Yeah.
And I was surprised because I like Sociable a lot. I like
love
their brand of
Sociable, yeah.
ciders.
Yeah.
It just wasn't for me. Again, it was kind of watered down feeling.
Yeah, maybe that's the issue then, that people they need to work on.
I think
more
they're
of the flavor.
trying. People are trying to.
Or maybe I'm just like, I need to stop thinking I'm going to like these and just stick with more assertive things because that's what I like.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
stop thinking I'm every person. I don't know. It's like, well, if I don't like it, nobody's going to like it, but that's not true.
Well, I'm like, when I go to places like that, I'm like, I know I like something. I'll take a sip and see if I can sample it, but I'll stick to the regular.
I'm very much like that too.
Okay, let's get into some of the brass tacks about social media here.
Yeah.
So you have this canned wine and it's cute. You can only put your canned wine in so many social media posts. So do you have a formula for, 4 pictures of the can to 7 non-pictures of cans?
Yeah. So I actually took a social media class last semester at school, and I'm a fashion major, so it was very much tailored to the fashion industry.
Yep.
But we did learn some things that I've carried over into meetings with Vamos Vino, but there's a big rule, the 80-20 branding rule. So 80% be about your brand, the lifestyle around it, and then 20% be specifically targeting the sales of your product.
Yep.
So I've very much taken that into account when working with Vamos Vino, just to keep it more streamlined. And I don't want it to feel pushy. I mean, obviously social media is promotional, but I'd never want it to feel pushy, and I want to celebrate the whole culture behind it too.
How much of your face is that culture?
That's a good question.
On the social media right now,
Do you feel like Sofia Coppola, if we're going to use her as
Yeah.
an example, she's not the face, but people know who she is. She's also a director. She's an accomplished woman.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
I
Like
don't
the
think it's
Laura
our.
Bella
I don't
show.
think it's
Yeah.
our face. Yeah, I think the
It's
whole
our
idea is
friends
like
and,
people in our demographic, people like us who would enjoy the product, and I think it'll just come naturally.
yeah.
Can you think of a person, or can you think of how it felt when you got your product into a location and you were like, yes? Tell me
Great
about that.
validation. Yeah, I mean, it's just so exciting because this is so new. We just got the shipment a few days ago, and holding the product for the first time was so exciting. And my friends have been asking me about it, so having all my friends come over and being able to show them the cans has just been such a good feeling. And
Are there places in the Twin City you want to carry it that you feel like, oh, this is the spot?
Liquor store, restaurants, or anything.
Any of the above? Like, is it like, okay, once we get in there, that's
We'll know,
cool.
yeah.
I guess I never thought about it like that, like what I need to validate it.
me either. I don't know. Just like maybe more like I can't think of a name for the life of me right now, but like fun uptown locations and like
Sure,
where
like
people,
restaurant.
yeah.
Yep.
And definitely breweries, I think is great just because like the options of having people who don't want to drink beer is a really great thing for us.
I want to see it at breweries, especially because we're not going to sell more wine than beer at breweries, but I think we'll give people like me an option to enjoy a drink with their friends while I used to live in LA, and coming back to Minnesota, I forgot, if you don't drink beer, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so true.
I think, and I'm not positive about this, but I think there might be a law that prevents them from selling any products other than their own in
that's
their
true.
tap rooms. So have you thought about maybe you girls could lobby, to get that law changed, or that's kind of how the Surly law was adopted?
Yeah.
Yeah, Vamos
I mean-
Vinos goes political.
We could. No, but yeah, you're right. They do need like an additional liquor license. I mean, the liquor laws here are very strict.
Yeah.
So
It's been hard for
that
them,
is
but-
definitely.
A challenge.
Will you sell this in your homeland of Argentina, or would that just be like, heck no, we are
Yeah.
not drinking wine from a can?
I don't think Argentina's there yet.
They're
We
not
always
ready?
joke they're 50 years behind us in technology and called not.
Yeah.
They're very I don't want to say pretentious, that's the wrong word, but they definitely have like a very strong proud of their wine
Heritage,
culture.
yeah, and they're
exactly.
not
I don't think they're ready
gonna
yet.
just drink it out of a
They-
can.
yeah.
I get it.
And
They still don't like screw top
Yeah.
bottles.
Yeah,
So,
and that, I mean, think about that. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's all happened within the last 10 years, how much this has advanced. That's a lot of change for an industry that's over 1,000 years old,
It's so true. Yeah.
Are there other states that you'd like to see this in, or do you have a distributor that's like, this is what we're doing, this is where we're going?
yeah.
Well-
we just got it in some liquor stores in Nebraska today.
Okay,
Yeah.
It's really
excellent.
exciting. And then
Yeah.
I think we definitely want it on the coasts. I definitely want it. I'm at school in New York, so I'd love to have it there. And obviously California is a big one too.
Think about the hotel markets too. It's a very different distribution system than your like traditional distributor, but it is a great way to reach young people, particularly if you're like in places like the Cosmopolitan in Vegas and Aria. And I think for those, you almost have to sell it direct.
Yeah, like an exclusive or something.
Yeah, and then like create a marketing opportunity around it. How much of the product, like, do you need to sample it? What do you need to sell it? Because I'm all excited for you, but it's really a different thing when all of a sudden you are one of 30 cans on a shelf, and the only thing standing between you and Sofia Coppola is marketing money. And
exactly,
because if the product's good, it'll sell some. But how do you feel like you're going to get it all the way? Do you think about that?
How are we going to do that?
Is it marketing money? Is it strategy?
I mean, we need the exposure, definitely. So we have a plan to include some influencers. So
tell me about that.
Yeah, so we've worked with some people in Minnesota, just different bloggers and food fanatics. So we have had some events with our old, with the Fiume Meschini wine. So we hope to send it off and get posts and have them talking about it, and hope that stimulates the market, as well as we need just more exposure. So whether that's from samplings and tastings and sending it out, or including influencers from different states to try to spread it.
And I think that our plan of attack is stay, really focus on our location now in the Twin Cities, and then can really expand the brand with using social media platforms and other places in the U.S.
So let's say you're gonna who represents a good social media influencer for you? Because for a lot of the listeners, this is a new territory for them, and they're like, how do you even find these people?
You find them by just being on Instagram, and
I was gonna say just scrolling and scrolling.
How did you find Design Love Fest?
Exactly.
Just on Instagram.
She's a really cool, blogger, and she does different projects with different creatives in LA. So I feel just honestly being on the apps and looking around, you find some great influencers. And we also have some great influencers here in Minnesota. What was her name? Kimberly? Remember the food girl? I can't remember her last name for the life of me. She's awesome. She does a lot of, she's always at different restaurants. She has different...
Kimberly Curry.
Yep. She has different things named after her on menus. So we've worked with her. She's come over a few times to our home, and she's awesome. So just working with different people like her. And then...
Is it always a pay for play with an influencer, or is it sometimes product trade?
It depends. I actually do some influencing because I have a blog too. So, I mean, I'm obviously not investing as much time into my blogs as Kimberly Curry is, but I will definitely take product just for a post. It does get pretty competitive with rates and stuff once you start doing paid, but a lot of big time bloggers are expecting to pay, which is fine. I mean, we're happy to distribute marketing money where it goes, and it's social media has been a great tool, and it's shown that it can be more effective than a billboard or an ad, and it's been really interesting to see how that's evolved in the ad industry.
And Facebook posts too.
Yeah.
Do you pay to boost your post, or are you okay?
Yeah, you can definitely do that. And it's so great because you can target the specific age group, and not that we only want to target women, but oftentimes wine is associated with women, and we kind of want to.
You probably only want to target women simply because the men will come along.
Yeah,
or
exactly. Yeah. That's what. It's the woman will probably buy it first, and the men will try it, and then
if you just have, it's like a win some game. If you only have X amount of money, you have to pick your P1s and just pound them over the head 52,000 times. Because right when you think they know who you are, you realize they still don't.
Yeah,
it's just it's endless, 7 times per person trying to find a way to make that connection.
And what's great is that Instagram and Facebook have tools that make it really affordable to boost your posts and get out there by seen by a lot of people for less money than running an ad or traditional forms.
What about events? Can you see yourselves doing sampling events and doing Meschini dinners? And
definitely. I think we're trying to innovate and modernize our events. Not a big sit down dinner and tasting, just because our product isn't. You don't sit down for.
It's more on the go.
Yeah, it is on the go. It's not a 3-hour bottle of wine dinner. It's like a backyard barbecue with a bunch of friends, and just promoting it as much as we can.
Fun with food trucks, because that's another great option. Food trucks would be great since you're not sitting down, you don't have a corkscrew and 2 glasses of wine. It's just you can or whatever. So it's been fun to rethink our events, and
we're doing one June 27th at a workspace in North Loop.
Okay.
We want to do as many of those as possible right now. So.
And when you guys can you see being in the liquor store and sampling? Part of the interesting part about makers is people really want to hear your story, and they want to connect with you, the person.
And so many people in Minnesota love that local aspect, and
they really do.
To that, we've lived in Minneapolis our whole lives, and we love it, and we love the culture and the people. So I think it's fun. I hope that we can start serving it, doing some tasting soon.
Okay, here's a weird question. You both are young women, this could be a hobby for all you know, right? I mean, this is your family business, but do you think you'll get sick of it and bored and move on to the next thing? And how do you know you won't?
I don't know. I really have a passion for it. Yeah.
It seems like it.
Yeah. I don't think I will at all. I've helped my parents and seen their wins and ops too growing up. And I think this seems way more personal. I feel like I'm much more invested, and I feel like it like represents us a lot
So up our alley.
better.
Yeah. I think so too.
So I feel like I can stand behind it, and yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get sick of it.
Your mom and dad must be pretty proud too, because to continue on the evolution of bringing in the next generation, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, I just love that this is so much more us. I was just always like, I loved our wine business growing up and I wanted to be a part of it, but this feels like something that we can do. And I'm so excited about the product, and it's just something like I feel totally different about it than I always have about our other wine business. So,
And do you feel, so Malbec is kind of your base. Do you think you'll expand? That's always...
we have
Yes.
plans to. I'm the red drinker, so I'm excited about this, but she's more of a white
Well,
girl.
yeah, I started just only liking white wine, even though Malbec is, from
signature.
Mendoza. It's
Yep.
like, that's like a sin or something like that. But
Don't tell Dad.
now I really love red wine. We want to develop maybe a Sauv Blanc, a Torrontés, some sort of rosé too. I
Yeah.
think would be really fun.
Yeah.
And
So,
you have all of those all those grapes at your vineyard,
Yep,
so,
we do.
So
you
we
can do that.
We have the ability. So yeah, we just wanted to keep it simple. Brand new brand. We're just going to try one.
Test the waters a
And
little
yeah,
bit,
I mean, we have the capabilities to keep producing. So
I love it.
yeah.
All right. It's Laura and Bella Meschini. It is Familia Meschini is the label. The actual can is Vamos Vino Malbec. It is a kind of salmon colored can with I'm trying to think of how to describe. There's like a wavy road behind it in
Yeah.
burgundy and orange and yellow. It's real cute. Thanks for being here today, girls.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Yes, I'm so glad that we could connect and put this together. If there are other young entrepreneurs out there, I want you to give them one or two pieces of advice before we sign out here, because we don't get to talk to young people just first starting out very often.
That's true.
That's awesome. I think
Laura?
just stay creative, do what you love, and I have such an eye for visual things, so it's always been my thing. So just find your thing, stick to it, and don't be scared to be experimental or test something new. I think.
All right, Bella, how about you?
I'd say tell your story, be honest with it, and I think the rest will follow.
And be authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of what you girls bring. And it's a very refreshing change for a lot of brands, right?
Yeah.
To not be... And the Instagram really, I think, is doing such a good job with this. It's not so polished anymore.
Yeah.
It's literally like someone just oh my God, I have the biggest it on my face. But
That's true. That's
I'm like, I have to go to this event.
Yeah.
And so what am I going to do? And I'm just going to own it because I got a big zit and it happens.
Exactly.
That is really new thinking from when we started on Instagram, where everything had to be a photo shoot, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not perfect, but
And we're
Yeah.
young. We don't have all the answers for
We're
everything.
telling the
but
truth.
Yeah, we gotten this far, so we'll keep going. And
I love it.
Whether there's bumps in the road, so be it. We'll figure it out, and it's awesome.
All right. Well, congratulations and good luck.
thank you.